One of the other things we try to do is to get artists that we know are going to be big. So that, you know, our program directors, that's what they do. They're always meeting with record labels and trying to find new artists and who's going to be the next big artist. For example, we had, what was her name, perform before she hit it big?
Adele.
Adele.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So one of the cool things about that is our listeners can come and see someone before they turn big. And then when they turn big, say, yeah, I saw her when she was, you know, just starting to go up the charts.
So I want to start out talking about you first, your life. Tell me a little bit about your life. Who is Steve Swenson?
Well, as far as my career was concerned, I grew up in Southern California and started working for CBS. At the time, it was not CBS, it was Westinghouse Broadcasting in Los Angeles at our all-news station there, KFWB. And I was there, started in the newsroom of our all-news station, an entry-level job, desk assistant. Then moved my way up over the next 5 years to be assistant news director. And then the company transferred me to New York City to be the news director of 1010 WINS back in 1985. I was news director and program director of 1010 WINS for 11 years. Then I became the general manager of WTOP here in Washington in 1996. And I was there for 3 years. And then the company asked me to move back up to New York to run our all-news station, WCBS. And I did that for 13 years. In the last 3 years of that, I also ran our second all-news station, 1010 WINS. And then about 4 years ago, right now, CBS asked me to come down and run our, at the time, 5 radio stations here in Washington. And then probably within 6-7 months, we bought a 6th radio station, and that's when we created WNEW, our all-news station here. So I now run all 6 of our CBS stations here in
impressive.
DC.
That is a very impressive
It's
career.
been fun.
Yes, I'm sure it has. So when did you start? When you were 10?
No, I wish. I went to undergraduate at UC Santa Barbara, and then I did my 2 years of graduate work, and then started right after that. So I was probably, I don't know, 22, 23 when I started.
I was 20 when I started, so I understand that, you know.
Young ones.
Yes, young, started out young. So when you look back on your life now, all the accomplishments that you made, what did you want to be when you were younger? Is this what you wanted to do?
It's funny, no, this is not anything that I thought I would ever do. I actually wanted to be a teacher. In fact, when I was going to school, I was really trying to prepare myself to get into teaching at a college.
Okay, so let's talk about where you are right now. Okay, so you have some news that you wanted to tell us about, and we're looking at it pretty much here. What is the news? Well,
that our 6 CBS radio stations have moved from suburban Maryland to our new home here in downtown Washington, D.C. The space, usually we do a 45-minute to an hour performance, which includes usually only 3 or 4 songs, but they also answer the audience questions. So you have them standing here answering questions, and then what the audience loves is being able to ask questions in such an intimate space. Then afterwards, they stay and take photos with every single person.
So everybody gets to take a selfie.
Yeah, so it's not like going to Verizon Center and seeing the, you know, Stevie Wonder, you know, 100 yards away. This is, you're right here with them.
This is super.
Yeah.
This is, the fans are going to love this.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is great. So, WNEW now covers Baltimore, I think?
Yeah, our signal, unlike most of the other signals of the radio stations in Washington, D.C., our transmitter site where we send out our signal is located in Bowie, Maryland.
Okay.
So that means our signal covers Baltimore as well as Washington, D.C.
Whose idea was this? Because now that you look back with the Baltimore riots and the news, the way you guys covered it, you did an excellent job covering it too. Do you think, now looking at that, do you foresee that being, your presence in Baltimore being felt even more so? Yeah,
I mean, we are now in Baltimore, in the Baltimore radio ratings.
Okay.
We are moving up and almost equal to WBAL, which has kind of been the only news talk radio station in Baltimore for decades. And so, yeah, we're seeing that our ratings in Baltimore are increasing as our ratings in Washington, D.C. are also increasing. I also think at that time, when we made the decision to do Baltimore to Washington, we also made a decision to be the only radio station that does traffic every 5 minutes.
Okay.
Most all news stations around the country, including WTOP here, do traffic every 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Whether they do it every 10 minutes on the 1s or every 10 minutes on the 8s, or we now do it Monday through Friday, 7A to 7P, every 5 minutes. And then the other thing is we want this performance space to become incredibly successful. We want our shows to be able to get listeners to come down and watch them, and they would work out of this performance studio you can see right in front of us. That studio is set up to, if you're a listener of WJFK, you know in the morning is the Junkies. 4 guys sitting around talking about sports. We want them to be able to do their show out of there sometimes, invite listeners to come down and watch. Okay. Or Tommy McFly, who does Fresh FM, our morning show. We want him to be able to do things down here so listeners. So we want this to become much more an engagement place, a place to interact with our listeners and talk to them.
So your listeners, like for instance, I just saw Tommy leaving the building. They will have, when they come here, they can interact with the DJs and things like that.
Now I gotta remember that.
Okay.
my brain cells are.
Okay.
Your name and title.
I gotta.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm Steve Swenson, the Senior Vice President of CBS in Washington, D.C., and I'm in the D.C. Spotlight.
Okay. Now, that's one, and then the other one's going to be, you're going to say your name, you're going to say what you just said, and I'm going to say my name, and then we're both going to say.
In the D.C. Spotlight.
Yeah, we're in the D.C. Spotlight.
We're in the studio.
Okay, all right.
I'm Steve Swenson, Senior Vice President and General Manager of CBS Radio in Washington, D.C.
And I'm Wendy Thompson, CEO and publisher of the DC Spotlight newspaper.
And we're in the DC Spotlight.
And this one, who is this?
This is Fat Joe.
That's Fat Joe.
He's an artist that we play on both PGC and L Zone.
Okay.
And then this is Gavin DeGraw. Gavin is primarily an artist that we play on Fresh FM.
I love him.
But when we launched this performance space that you're looking at right now, he was our opening act. And he came in and performed for us.
And this is John Legend.
John Legend, who obviously is played on both PGC and Fresh FM. Colby Clay, primarily on Fresh FM.
Okay.